Is Amazon FBA dead? Is Amazon FBA oversaturated? Are there really no good products left to find on Amazon? These are genuine concerns that new sellers often have, and that's what I want to address in this video. As most of the people that believe that Amazon FBA is dead or is oversaturated, it is because they've been unable to find a product themselves. Now, finding a product to sell on Amazon isn't easy by any means, but usually it is just a numbers game. If you put enough time in, you will find a viable product opportunity. So in this video, my goal is to show you that there are still opportunities out there, because there's no point in me just telling you that it's all fine, right? I want to try and show you there are opportunities out there so that when you start your own product research, you can feel confident that it's just a matter of time until you find your first product. So we're going to be using a method in this video called Store Radar, but it doesn't actually matter what method you use. You can use black box to find products. You can walk into physical stores to get product ideas. You can use things like Kickstarter. You can go on Amazon.com or Amazon Germany and look at some of the new releases or best-selling products. I'm not really fussed what method you use because it's all about the time. The more time you put into product research, it just becomes inevitable that you will find a viable product. So I just walked through the kitchen and the missus was making a cake. So I'm starting with a cake stand. Now, I'm not actually fussed at all about this particular product. What I want to do is find a product in these search results that is selling at a healthy price point, and by healthy price point for new sellers, brand new sellers, at least £15 price point, and for VAT registered sellers like myself, you're going to be looking at probably £20 upwards if you want to make profit on Amazon. So that's what I mean by a viable price point. So I'm going to sort this by price, and then I'm going to come down this list until I find a product that is selling at a good price, but is also generating reasonable sales at a level that I would want to target. So as a new seller, you're probably going to want to target somewhere between 100 to 300 units per month. Anything above 300 units per month is probably a bit too much for a new seller to bite off for their first product. So let's just filter out the sponsored results, go through these organic listings and see which ones are actually doing any sales. So these guys here, 22, 86, 22, 793. That for a new seller would be too high. But I'm actually quite intrigued how these guys are selling nearly 800 products at £30. So I'm going to open this particular seller and see if they've got any other good products. Now, these guys are clearly not selling based on their brand. And personally, I'm not a fan of greens, so I'm actually quite surprised they're selling so well. But either way, let's not judge them too soon. Let's take a look at their products. So on the right-hand side, go to the buy box, and it will say they're sold by, and that is the name of the seller. It says dispatches from Amazon, so you know it's an FBA product. So sold by, click on that, then scroll to the bottom of the page where it says see all products. Click on that, and this will show you every single product that this seller sells. And then once you've exhausted all of these products to see if there's any ideas there, you can then go back to the original niche and pick a different seller to go through, or you can take any one of these products and then look at sellers from that niche instead. So let's run X-ray on this individual seller's products to see if there is anything worth us looking at. And this is why the Store Radar technique is really good, as you never know what you're going to come across, and it gives you basically an infinite supply of different product ideas, as you never know which direction you're going to go. So again, I'll probably do the same thing. I'll sort it by price and see which ones are selling well. So we've already looked at the cake stand. Well, we didn't analyze the cake stand, but that's where we originally came from. The next one down is a welly boot rack. Now, I'm just going to ignore that straight away because it's a welly boot rack, so that is clearly going to be seasonal in my eyes. I don't even need to look at that niche to know that's going to be seasonal. We've then got a coffee station organizer, which is interesting, but it's only selling 41 products. But then further down, we've got a bigger version of a coffee station organizer, which is selling 613 units per month. So potentially, maybe there's something in this coffee station organizer niche for us to look at. So the first thing we want to do is try to establish the best search term. Is it coffee station organizer, or is it something else? Now, I don't always put the S or Z in, as sometimes the Americans kind of seep into Amazon.co.uk, and you can see actually the highest search volume is for the Z variety rather than the S variety. So let's click on coffee station organizer. And now a search volume of 1,500 isn't that high. For a main keyword, I'd probably expect at least 2,000 or 3,000. So it'll be interesting to see. We can analyze this individual product to see where the sales are coming from. But for now, let's just see if there is enough demand and price point in this coffee organizer niche to make this worth us analyzing further. So the first thing I always do, a quick scroll down to make sure the products are comparable. And then I fire off X-Ray from Helium 10. I'll put the usual discount codes in the pinned top comment and also pop some up on screen for you guys as well. Let's filter out the sponsored results and see what we get. So a quick look at the search volume history just to see if this is seasonal. Now, I'm not saying this is seasonal at the moment, but this product is something that seems to be gaining traction, which is interesting. So what I'll then do is dive into individual products to see how they're selling over the same period to see if there's consistent seasonality between the products and the search volume. The next thing I'd look at is the price point. This is a good price point. I like the look of this price point. This is certainly something that would interest me if all the other attributes did check out. Now the sales, unfortunately, the sales are quite disappointing. You've got these guys at 600, then it drops off very quick. I'd want to see a what I call a landing zone of evidence. So I'd want to see at least 4 or 5 sellers in the top 10 to 15 organic results achieving sales figures of what I'd be aiming for. So if I was a new seller, maybe 4 or 5 sellers selling 150 units per month or 200 units per month. But this is too sporadic for me to justify entering this niche. So I would just cross off this niche and move on to the next opportunity. And that's why looking at price and sales first, alongside seasonality, is just such a quick way to rule a product in for further analysis or to just rule it out completely. So that wasn't a good product for us. So we go back and let's take a look at some of their other products to see what other options we have. And this is why I like Store Radar, because straight away you're back into doing product research. We've gone through, we know that the coffee station organizer wasn't any good. Let me just sort this by price, because that's what I did originally. So the cake box we've gone over, we've got the welly boot rack we've gone over, we've got the coffee station organizer, we've then got the coffee mug holder, but that's not really selling. We've then got a recipe book stand holder, so that's interesting. So I might actually open that and take a look at that niche. A bamboo appliance slide-in tray for coffee makers. That's to do with coffee again. A Lazy Susan cupboard organizer, only got 50 sales. A wooden kitchen utensil holder, only got 97 sales. And then we've got a decorative tray here at 150 sales and just over that £15 price point for a brand new seller. So let's take a look at that as well. So we had the recipe book stand holder. So again, let's try to figure out the best search term for this. We're going to be using Search Expander from Helium 10. So as we type, it will give us suggestions. So recipe book, see if it offers up some suggestions. So recipe book stand and holder, all right, are kind of quite low volume, so I don't think potentially that is going to be the right search term to use. Now, one thing you can do with this, there's 2 ways to find out the best search terms. Number one is using Search Expander like I just showed you. The second one is to take the product through into Cerebro and see which of the high volume search terms it is actually ranked for, because those will be the ones driving the sales. So we come down to the Helium 10 extension, click on keywords. This will take us straight through to Cerebro from Helium 10. It's going to analyze this particular product to see which keywords it is ranked for from both a sponsored and organic perspective. So it's really, really powerful. And it's a very quick way of confirming what is the best search term for a particular niche or product. So if we put the search volume in as a minimum of 500, as anything below 500 isn't worth considering when we're trying to figure out the best search term. And then if you look at the organic ranks, let's see what the volumes are. So recipe book stand is 1,000, cookbook stands 945, 543, book stands for display is 867. A book stand on its own is 4,000 search volume. So potentially book stand might be the best search term to use. So certainly these are all comparable, different styles of book stands. Let's run Helium 10 on this and see what we get. And we're going to filter out the sponsored products, and let's just take a look. The sales column looks quite promising. The price point, it's on the low side, unfortunately. You have got a couple of products at the slightly higher price points, £15 just about viable, and then these guys at £30, but then we drop off very, very quickly. So although I quite like the look of the sales, I mean, there's lots of evidence here. If you get sales somewhere between 1 to 200 per month, you've got a really good chance of getting ranked in kind of the top 15 or so organic results. So this is what a good sales column would look like. If you had a sales column like this combined with the price point column that we saw earlier, that's kind of what you're looking for. But this price point column isn't really doing it for me. So that would probably be enough for me to just go, look, this product isn't going to cut it. Let's just cross that off. And let's go back to the other product we had open, which was the decorative tray, candle trays, black round perfume plate, metal tray for coffee table. I mean, these are some quite different use cases. So let's take, I'm going to skip Search Expander in this instance and just go straight through to Cerebro and figure out which organic keywords are driving the sales for this particular product. So scroll down, actually let's put the search volume in at 500 to exclude all of the noise on the right hand side. So you can see rank 2, 3, 3, 3, 8, and these are coffee table decor, coffee table tray, decorative tray, trays decorative, candle tray. So they are, this particular product is pulling sales from a variety of sources. So when you get a product like this, because some of these search terms may not be directly related, you have to be careful you don't just base your analysis on one keyword. For example, I could go to decorative tray, but I have to appreciate that these products aren't all generating sales from decorative tray. They could also be pulling sales from candle tray or coffee table decor or coffee table tray. So it's important to keep that in mind, because if you develop a product that only focuses on one of these niches, you could be missing out on a lot of this search volume. So if you do go down into this kind of rabbit hole and look to launch a comparable product, you need to make sure you don't isolate any of these potential customers. You need to have a generic one like these guys do that captures traffic from various different types of customer. So if I scroll down in this decorative tray niche, they all look quite nice as decorative trays. They all look a little bit oldie-worldy, don't they? So I think there's potentially something you could do there with maybe a slightly more modern approach. But let's open this up in Helium 10 and see what we get with this, what the sales going to be like, what's the price point going to be like, and what is the seasonality going to be like. So filter out those sponsored results and let's take a look. So price point. Again, this isn't perfect, the price point. This is a little on the low side, but we do have a bit more evidence here. At £20, £19.99, £20.98, just above £15, and then a couple down here at £20 as well. So the price point is, I mean, it's just about enough. This isn't low enough for me to exclude this product. I would keep looking at this product because the price point is just about there for new sellers. And the sales is actually not too bad as well. It's not quite as good as the previous product in terms of sales, but we've still got demand at 150, 105, 158, 179, 187, 179, and 114. So we've got a landing zone, and we've got a clear landing zone of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 products that are selling between 1 to 200 units per month and at a price point between 15 to £20. So we have evidence of a landing zone, and that's what we're looking for when we're trying to find a product. And if we just take a quick look at the search volume, see what it's looking like over the year. I mean, there's not too much to read in that. It drops off a little bit in June, but if we look at all time, did it do the same last year? Yeah, interesting enough, it does drop down a little bit in those summer months. So there is a bit of seasonality just going by the search volume, but overall, I wouldn't say it's the end of the world. It drops off for a little bit. It's still relatively consistent throughout the rest of the year. So this product, I would probably pop onto my shortlist to come back to another time to do the deep dive analysis. So when I say the deep dive analysis, you then start to look at the other attributes in this table, which if I'm going to give you a very, very quick example in this video, I look at the brand column to make sure there are no big brands dominating the niche, which there clearly aren't in this niche. Scroll over to the right-hand side. I like to see a couple of GB sellers, which we've got here. If it's all CN sellers, if it's all Chinese sellers, it often means the margins are too tight. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 GB sellers in the top 10 to 15 organic results, which is really good. The fees look manageable. The ratings, there's no concern there. No one's averaging 5 stars, so you're going to have no issues competing with these guys. The review counts themselves aren't crazy. Double and low 3-figure reviews on the first page is always a positive sign. And then on the right-hand side, we can see that many of these listings are actually a good couple of years old. We've only got one in the past year or so. Now, I'd ideally like to see maybe 1 or 2 of those to show that it is possible to get into this niche. But when I look at the other things such as the review counts and the actual quality of the products themselves and the ratings, I think you'd have a good chance of getting into this niche. So what are we into this video? Like 10, 15 minutes into this video, and potentially we've already found a product that is worth deep diving further into. So when people tell me that Amazon FBA is oversaturated or they can't find a good product, I genuinely believe it's just a time issue. And if you put enough time in, you will start to find products. Now, when I look at this product, I'm actually looking at this thinking, I've got ideas flooding through my head, what I could do to stand out in this niche, develop a decorative tray that would also appeal to some of those other search terms we looked at, which were the coffee table tray, the candle tray. So if you've got a decorative tray that can cover multiple niches and you can be pulling traffic from all of those, as you can see by the search volume, which is quite evenly distributed across those different types of demand. As long as you're aware of that up front and you develop your product accordingly, then you've got a good chance of capturing a similar amount of traffic at a similar price point at a similar sales level. So hopefully, if you are questioning whether Amazon FBA is dead or whether all of the niches are oversaturated or whether you can find a good product or not, hopefully this video helps to give you a bit of confidence that there are indeed opportunities out there. Now, if you're looking to find your own product but don't use the store raider technique, I'm going to pop up a video now which talks you through the black box method, which is even quicker than using the store raider method. So click on that link now and I'll see you guys over there.